Welcome. My name is Amy, and I will be your personal guide as together we explore strategies to improve your skills to make you a more effective leader. You've taken an important step in enhancing and expanding your ability to interact with others in a meaningful and impactful manner, and I want you to get everything you can out of this training. This training is designed so that you can take it at your own pace. Take your time, do the activities to ensure you will be able to put your new learning into practice. Learning alone will not make you successful. You must take action. It is only through the application of our knowledge that we can truly shine, and I know you can shine. We're in this journey together. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time with your questions or comments. I'm here for you. Now, before we get started, make sure you've printed off your training guide. This will help you capture all the key information you will need to put your learning into practice. I know, it may seem old school, but some of the latest research shows that writing out notes is the most effective way for adults to learn. So if you haven't printed out your guide yet, hit that pause button and go do that right now. All ready? Excellent. It's my pleasure to be your guide through this training. Let's begin. How to lead a virtual meeting. Many of you may be in a position where you must lead all of your meetings virtually. While some of you may have experience with this, for many of you it may be the first time. So here are some tips and tricks to help you manage the process of this modern leadership challenge. Technology options. As the leader of the meeting, you need to identify what technology will be used and either know how to use it proficiently yourself or make sure that you have a technical assistant with you during the meeting. In the agenda or meeting announcement, you need to let everyone know what technology will be used and provide them information, typically in the form of a contact person or link, on how to use that technology. Everyone will be looking to you to set the example, so be prepared. Make sure you have a plan B and maybe even a plan C in the event of any technical mishaps. Knowing in advance how you will adjust for technology issues will allow you to move smoothly to the next plan rather than waste everyone's time as you try to figure out what your options are and then put them into place. This includes knowing who takes over the host or leader duties if the technical issue is on your end. When you're using video conferencing, you need to set the expectations as to the acceptability of people turning off their camera during the meeting. If your expectation is that people will be fully engaged with the meeting, the camera should be on. You should be able to see everyone just as if you were all sitting in the same room. Being a virtual participant means you work harder at being engaged. The word meeting comes from the Old English gemet and means the action of coming together. In the 1500s, it was further defined as the action of coming together for the purpose of discussion. A lot of times, people find themselves in a meeting where the primary purpose is to receive information, and that's a poor use of people's time. Those meetings can easily be dispensed with and can be an email instead that people read on their own time. Patrick Lencioni. Make sure that your meeting have a purpose and have outcomes. Otherwise, what's the point? Meeting engagement. Your biggest function in leading an effective meeting is to make sure that everyone stays engaged. It's hard to stay engaged when one person is speaking for an extended period of time. The more active, the more interactions that are taking place, the easier it is to stay focused and involved. There are a number of ways in which you can bring more interaction into your meetings and establish ways for everyone to contribute by having them share ideas, provide suggestions, give feedback, summarize another's main point, etc. Consider the following strategies. 1. Make sure that anyone presenting information knows to keep their remarks to 5 minutes or less. Some people are very long-winded. You will need to be able to cue people to let them know when they need to wrap up and actively hold people accountable to their appointed time. When there are instances that the topic legitimately needs more time, find a way to break down the information. So there is a question and answer or some other type of interaction between major points. 5 minutes is about the maximum time that you are going to hold people's attention with a single speaker. After that, many people will begin to tune out. So you want to make sure that topics are either presented within that amount of time or you have tactics in place to keep people engaged in the discussion. Number 2, encourage others to ask clarifying questions. This is especially important in virtual meetings. If people aren't physically together at the same site, they won't be running into each other in the hall or when getting coffee. This needs to be done during the meeting. You need to make sure everyone is on the same page. Specifically, ask after each topic if there were any questions and be prepared to ask questions yourself on any points you want to reinforce. Number 3, establish an expectation that others will respond to remarks. What information was new to them? How might they use that information in their own work? This is a great way to build trust and support within a team. It is a way to show appreciation for what was shared and indicate how or why this information applies to you. In the beginning, you may need to pose these questions yourself and solicit responses. Over time, people will begin to engage without your prompting. Number 4, if you need to call on people to ask them to respond, don't always ask the same people. Change it up as much as possible. Or if you're asking for round-robin responses, don't always call on people in the same order. Mixing it up keeps people at a higher level of anticipation. Anticipation creates engagement. Number 5, use various types of polling to check in with everyone. This can be anything from a simple hand raise to indicate that they understand something, or an electronic polling to gauge if people are ready to move on to the next item. Many video conferencing platforms have polling systems built in, and if yours doesn't, there are plenty of free virtual polls that you can conduct through a link in the chat box. Try to be creative about when during the meeting you might use a poll and what the poll might be about. You can even start off the meeting with a poll or quick around the room to determine the energy level or readiness to discuss a particular topic. Number 6, alternate your speakers. If you have one person who will be providing multiple updates, don't have them report on their items all at once, unless of course the information needs to be sequential. Having changes in who is speaking means there are auditory changes. Auditory changes help keep our brains engaged. Number 7, if your agenda is not sequentially based, in other words, topic A doesn't have to be discussed before topic B, be flexible with the agenda. If you see someone starting to lose focus from the meeting, ask them to share next. If they don't have a specific agenda item, then ask them to respond to the remarks made by another. As the leader, you need to constantly monitor everyone's engagement. Be prepared to invite people to engage when you see their attention start to drift. And number 8, finally, direct individual questions or unrelated discussions offline so you're not wasting time during meetings. As soon as the discussion starts to get off track or the topic becomes unique to 2 individuals rather than the entire group, intervene and ask them to continue that discussion after the meeting. Are your people uncomfortable during meetings and tired at the end? If not, they're probably not mixing it up enough and getting to the bottom of important issues. Patrick Lencioni. Finish strong. Wrapping up a meeting properly is critical to an effective meeting, yet frequently rushed through or overlooked altogether. Most people are ready to click that exit meeting button about 3 minutes before meetings are scheduled to end. That means you need to plan to start your wrap-up 5 minutes before end time. Wrap-ups are important in any meeting, but they are vital in virtual meetings. You can't provide a reminder or clarification as you pass someone in the hall when you're in different locations. Everything must be made clear before the meeting ends. In the wrap-up, you need to reiterate what has been accomplished or decided and any next steps that have been agreed to. You need to identify what discussions still need to take place and how those discussions will be handled. And you need to clearly state any other responsibilities or actions that are to be taken by who and by when. Again, don't let this be rushed. Rushing is when things get missed or misunderstandings typically take place. Putting it all together. While virtual meetings are all about communication, there is a process to that communication. The The more you understand the process, the steps and strategies to effective meetings, the better equipped you will be to manage that process and achieve desired results. But virtual communication involves people. That means you must be just as skilled at the people side of meetings as you are on the process side. You choose. So, which of these strategies do you need to work on improving? What can you do to be more effective as a virtual leader? What are your technology options? What are your technology plans B and plans C in case something goes wrong? Are you keeping everyone engaged during the meeting? Do you have clear expectations as to how people will be participating? Are you mixing who speaks and when? Are you monitoring how long each person speaks for? Is everyone contributing to the meeting in some way? Are you conducting reviews at the end of the meeting? Are follow-up actions clearly identified? What will be the first action step you take towards building your virtual meeting leadership skills? Pick one strategy to focus on. What can you do to start making that skill a positive habit? Did you jot down notes on what the skill entails? If not, you may want to go back and rewatch that part of the training. If you want to improve a specific skill, you must be consciously and consistently practicing the actions that demonstrate that skill. So again, which skill are you going to start with? And what are the specific strategies you need to practice to improve that skill? Write down those actions on your worksheet. Practice is what will develop this skill into a habit. Master one habit before you move on to the next. Small steps will lead to big changes. Become a virtual meeting master, one small step at a time. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to let me guide you through this training. I hope you found it useful, and I really hope that you stick to your plan and start taking small steps to leading virtual meetings.